It's an adult field day.
He gets you to leave your job. Welcome Daryl to the building. What kind of activities should people expect?
We have core activities that are in every city. Every city you'll always see the infamous tug-of-war. Adult musical chairs is something that get real intense, man. It's like Chuck E. Cheese on steroids.
If it comes down to, these new age kind of people trying to start their event, throw their event, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would say even before you decide to do this, ask yourself why. Because if you're doing it for money, it's going to fade out. If you're doing it for money, it's not going to last long. If you're doing it for money, there's no cultural impact.
Hey guys, we realize a lot of you are coming to the page and enjoying the content, but we see a lot of you still aren't subscribed. And so if you could click that subscribe button, it'll help our channel grow and give you more episodes with a lot of amazing individuals. Yo, welcome back to another episode of Attractive Mindset. And listen, today's guest comes from the northern part of the country, but he's bringing his events everywhere across the country. And listen, he gets you to leave your job. And I'm going to find out a little bit more later, but it sounds crazy, but trust me, this is going to be an episode you want to watch. Welcome Daryl to the building.
What's happening, man? What's going on, champ? How's everything?
On? Good.
I'm wonderful. I'm fresh off a flight, man. So
yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I think I got to cut my sleeves because it's a little hot.
It's a little hot. So, welcome to Florida.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So for the people who don't know you, or your company, your brand, give them a little just overview real quick about what you got going on.
So the name of my company is called the Hookie Experience. Play Hookie is centered around let me see, what's the best way? It's an adult field day, right? And we get adults to challenge their inner child. We get people to focus on not being responsible for one day during a day where you normally would be responsible.
I like that. And there's so much packed into that because there's a whole bunch of different things and, the psychology behind doing stuff like that. And it's during a weekday. It's not a weekend thing.
Correct.
And so you specifically want people to
call out of work.
Call out of work.
There's people that say, hey, I'm gonna just wait till the day of and call out sick or whatever. And then you got people that put in a PTO, and it's about, targeting corporate wellness. I think what goes on now in the corporate world is that they don't focus enough on taking care of their employees, not just financially, but mentally. The burnouts, the stress of the job. And a lot of people bring their personal to work. Yeah. As much as people say you shouldn't do that, I mean, it's kind of impossible.
Facts. And they take it home with them.
Correct. So it's like you bring in both. You bring in work home, you bring it home to work.
Exactly.
So I put you in a space where you leave all of that behind and you come be a kid again. I help people. Everybody always wish they can relive certain moments. I do that for you. In real time.
I don't even know what this event is 100%. And that alone is like, I mean, I don't work a 9 to 5, but if I did, I'm calling out, And
but
so
even not just people that work a 9 to 5, but just people that work, period. Right. We all work. We just have different definition of what our work looks like.
Facts.
That's stay at home moms, that's stay at home dads that don't work a job, but they still working.
Yeah.
Right.
I
So
didn't even think about that.
It relates to everybody.
No, that's true. Just take a break. No, that's fire. And so I do want to touch on that. But first, on here, we like to go way back and learn a little bit more about the individual. And so we want to know, a little bit more about you in the terms of, how you grew up, where you from, and just to understand a little bit of your background to how you got to this today.
Got you. So I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm 39 years old. Originally, and even still now, I started as a DJ. I've been a DJ for 26 years now.
Okay.
I started when I was about 14 years old. And how I got started was my godfather was a industry writer. He used to write for people like Tony Braxton, Jodeci. And I got to travel with him at a certain point, and I got to see what life was like being on the road and being an entertainer. And back then, when you went to the concerts, right? You know how now you got all these opening acts.
Mhm.
The opening act was the DJ.
Mm.
So I got infatuated with the DJ really having control of 20,000 people, right? Telling
Facts.
them, everybody put your hands up, and they do that. And I thought that was so dope. So I wanted to learn how to DJ. But before I learned how to DJ, I was taught how to write music, arrange music, play the keys a little bit. And that helped transition into being a DJ, where I heard and understood music way differently than most DJs.
And you were taught that like professionally? You went to school for that?
No, I mean, my godfather taught me everything because he was already in the industry.
Got you.
So I just got to be around him and soak that game. And, you know, it was like being in school. You know, you got to learn firsthand, and being around professionals. And so I picked up DJing. I never left it alone. And then at a certain point, I realized that I was the draw at parties, meaning people were coming because I was DJing. What up? You now rocking with Follow the DJ, the CEO of the Play Hookie Experience. Hey, make sure June 6th, BET weekend. Make sure y'all pull up in LA. Also, New York, we in Brooklyn. June 13th, Father's Day weekend. And then we also pulling up in Chi-Town, Juneteenth weekend. Make sure you get your tickets. Go to that website, www.playhookieexp.com. So when I realized that, I stopped letting promoters book me, and I started throwing my own events. So then that's when I created Follow the DJ Presents. That's what my DJ name is, Follow the DJ. Gotcha. And so then I created my own event company called Follow the DJ Presents, where I was curating my own events and DJing them.
So what kind of events would these be? Just a
they were all,
event?
they was always themed events. So, you know, I started doing R&B stuff before it really got popular. And then I used to have I still have it. I just haven't done it in a while. An all R&B festival called the Secret Garden.
Oh, that's fine.
And that focused on a lot of interactive stuff as well. So that's how we got here. In terms of Play Hookie, I just seen the nightlife becoming very low vibrational and very boring. It's like when you go out, everybody's on their phone. Everybody look tired, look worn out. They just look unhappy, right? So it's like, y'all supposed to be coming out to have a good time and break away from whatever it is that you were trying to get away from. But yet I still feel like you living in it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's going on with nightlife? So I'm like, okay, I started looking at what people weren't doing. Everybody's playing the same music. Everybody's throwing the same parties at the same places during the same time of the day, during the same times of the weekend. So I'm like, what can I do to bring fun back into what we call or once known was partying? So I just thought about the things that I was doing even as a teenager, like when I first started going to teenage clubs, and even just stuff we did as a kid. I'm like, man, remember when we did things just for bragging rights, right? So I just wanted to bring some of those things back into people's lives. And I just started with, I would ask people, I'll ask you right now, when's the last time you had some childhood fun?
Define childhood fun.
Dodgeball, tug-of-war, softball, things that involve team building exercises.
Team building stuff, we've definitely done some stuff like that, but like dodgeball, softball, tug-of-war.
Skip rocks.
Yeah, no. You know? We haven't done that in I don't
Rode
even
a bike.
Not that either.
See my point? Well, when you think about those things back in the times where you did do it, don't it automatically trigger like a smile? And make you remember how fun and how exciting that was?
I used to be zooming on that bike.
That's what I make adults do now. Like they arrive to, my event starts at 11 a.m. They there at least by 10:30 and they ready. So it's like as soon as you open up the gates, they coming in, they ready to have fun, they ready to get to it. Whereas though when you go to a regular party, everybody stand in line.
They settling in,
so vibrational. They come in, go to the bar. Hey, let me get 2 shots of tequila. Then they go over there to the corner and they like this the whole time and they looking around and nobody's talking to each other. Nobody's engaging. Like, that's not fun.
No, that's a vibe. And so in you curating this, do you do it by yourself? Did you launch it? So how exactly did you bring field day type activities to an event? How'd the planning go?
So it is majority yes, just me. I do have 3 hosts that travel with me to these events, and they play a very big role in the situation. Why? They're all MC hosts, but they all know how to entertain and interact with the crowd. So like all of them are always in the crowd with a mic, getting people involved, doing icebreakers, introducing themselves, letting people brag on themselves, letting people be seen. I think that's something we lack too, right? In the work industry is being heard, being seen, being able to brag about the things that you do or have contributed, right? And people actually applaud you for it versus just sitting there like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? I give people that space and that room to do things that they kind of already been wanting to do, but they not comfortable with doing it for whatever reason.
Got you.
And I think a lot of it is acceptance. Us trying to change ourselves and be a different person to fit the people that's in the room. No. I'm going to be who I am in whatever room I walk in, and you're going to adjust to who I am.
Facts.
And some people going to like it, some people not. I'm cool with that. That's how many billion people in this world. I don't need everybody to like me. I just need everybody to come play a little hooky.
Nah, facts. And so even that name, like that's a old school name. Like even when you said it at first, I was like, dang, I ain't heard play hooky in a minute. And so what made you want to brand it that?
So here's an inside underground backstory for you. So originally there was, and it's still going on now, there's a group of guys that I'm very, very cool with from Baltimore. They started something called Ditch Day back in like 2011. And I had the pleasure of working with them for a while. When I relocated to the South, I gave one of them a call and I said, hey man, I'm looking to do some things that we did back home in Baltimore. But I'm going to do them a little bit different. And one of those things was going to be Ditch Day. But I wanted you guys' blessing on it. And he said, man, listen, all I want you to do, if you're going to do something, do it right. I said, all right, say less. So I started doing it with that name initially. But still the concept that you see now. I had some folks reach out to me to claim to have owned the name Ditch Day and have it trademarked. That turned out to be a lie. So in the midst of that, I actually kind of got, I ain't gonna say forced, but it made me start to kind of get creative. So I started already like pre-thinking of another name that was more inviting, that sounded fun, that really resonated with what I was trying to execute. So when I came up with Play Hooky, I felt like that was it spells out fun. It looks like fun. So I came up with the whole color scheme of it being like the whole color wheel, right? Because mentally, when you look at certain colors, it makes you feel a certain way and it makes you pay attention to it more. So I put a lot of psychological thought into the name, into the color scheme, into how the logo should look before I actually had launched it.
Got you.
So that's how we got to that.
Okay. No, that's dope because it's, when I look at your page, it's expansive. You got like a mascot, you got a bunch of different things going on. And I'm like, man, this is a well thought out kind of process. This is not just a party. It's not just something you come up to and oh yeah, I'm going to just listen to some music and vibe out. Like people have a deep smile. People got a regular smile, but they have a deep smile.
You can tell when it's authentic.
Yeah. They got childhood like memories coming back up that they're reliving. And Friday, we're actually going to be in the building. So, one of the things that we do here on this podcast is when it's something live that we can interact with. Like we got a chef coming next week. You're gonna be teaching me how to cook something on the podcast. You know, like
That's dope.
I did some yoga live. I got body contour live, like all type of stuff. And you know, we're gonna hook you up to a lav. I want to be hooked up to a lav, and we're gonna just go through the event a little bit and just highlight some of this stuff so people can see while we're having this conversation also, like what we're actually talking about and what's the vibe. So, you know, now I want to segue into a little bit of what kind of activities should people expect, or do you have planned? Is it the same thing every time, or how does that work?
So we have core activities that are in every city.
Okay.
But I also interchange a lot of things out, or I'm always adding stuff. So like every city, you'll always see the infamous tug-of-war that has become like one of the most popular games that we run in every city. Adult musical chairs is something that get real intense, man. Real intense. You got things like sack race, hot potato. What else we got? Sometimes, depending on the venue, we do dodgeball. We do the giant beer pong. We do a tournament with that.
Fire.
We do what is it? Not the beanbag toss. Cornhole.
The cornhole.
Yeah, we do a cornhole tournament. Man, there's a bunch of stuff we do. I got such a long list of activities that we do, and all these activities are broken down on a schedule. So I actually create a schedule. There's actually like a layout.
Gotcha.
Right?
It's not just free for all.
It's not just free for all. That we do have some free for all games that anybody can just go up to at any given time, but we actually have a schedule of when we do certain games. That way, the whole entire day is entertaining. There's always something going on, even outside of, you know, you guys getting drinks, and we always got lots of photo ops. Yeah, man, it's fun filled, man. It's like Chuck E. Cheese on steroids.
Got
but
you.
for
Chuck E.
adults.
Cheese for adults. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
dope. And so, is there a certain capacity that you have to make sure these games, like, how do people sign up once they get there, or they got to do it before to be like, I want to do tug of war?
So normally that's where the hosts come into play.
Okay.
They are constantly making announcements, and for certain games we do have sign up sheets. So they'll be walking around. That's again like everything is interactive. We don't. That's not somebody just sitting at a table with some clipboards saying, "Hey guys, come sign up." No, we're going around to them with the sign up sheets.
Got you. Okay. And this only played once, or you do multiple rounds?
So it depends, because if we're getting a lot of participation on certain games, we got to do it more than once. But we try not to do it so many times, because certain games can get a little lengthy. So we try to stay on a schedule so things don't get boring, or the people that's not playing and watching, it's like, when are you going to do the next activity?
Got you.
So the people that's playing, we want them to enjoy it, but also the people that's not playing, we want them to enjoy watching it, but we don't want them to get bored watching it.
Got you. So what kind of music do you tend to gravitate towards while this whole event is happening?
It depends. A lot of that stuff is freestyle, simply because it's about reading the crowd. It's about seeing your audience. So, you know, we'll look out there and see who's who, or sometimes we'll throw some bait out there and say, you know, who in here, you know, is 35 and over, 30 and over, 25 and over. And that kind of gives us an idea what direction we need to go in.
Got you. Yeah. So, I mean, you in Florida, so you're going to have to put on some, act like you got on skates. You got to put all of that on.
We got all of that, all of it.
All right, cool. No, that's dope. So I want to take it back a little bit again. You know, did you go to college?
No, I didn't go to college.
Okay. And so what was your transition going from high school to life?
From high school, I didn't finish high school. I had a difficult life growing up. You know what I'm saying? I was incarcerated as a teen for a few years. Came home, went back go back to high school afterwards, and the DJing thing I always knew I wanted to do. But I also knew that I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I never wanted to work for nobody. I never wanted somebody to tell me what I'm worth. I also don't really care for how I see managers, bosses, owners talk down on the people that how they would put it, work under them. I don't say people work under me or for me. You work with me. We stand in a line going from left to right, not from front to back. That's how I see it. But everybody else don't. So I knew I wanted to DJ. So when I finished school, I already had some DJ equipment, and but I didn't have a laptop. So I convinced my grandmother to buy me my first laptop, and I started making. I would make videos every day in my mother's basement and just post them on YouTube until I kind of got comfortable with saying, all right, now I'm gonna put myself out there and try to start getting gigs. So I remember my first gig, I did it for free. It was somebody's like graduation cookout or something like that. And they loved it. And then, people started coming up to me and was like, hey man, how much you charge? So initially, I was doing it because I loved it. The audience is what started putting a price tag on it because they seen the value in me. So they would come up and say, how much? And then it just kind of took off from there. I started building my name, building my brand. I was going to this little t-shirt stand in the mall back in Baltimore like 2-3 times a week, getting shirts made that just had follow the DJ. I didn't even have a logo at the time. I would take my shoes up to the guy and say, hey man, make me a shirt to match these shoes. And I never went anywhere. I don't care if it was to the market, bro. I never went nowhere without displaying my name.
That's fire.
And that's how I built my name and my brand to where everybody knew who it was. And even if they didn't know me personally, when they heard the name Follow the DJ, it's like, I heard of that person.
So outside of your godfather that taught you a lot of the DJ stuff, where do you get a lot of inspiration for the entrepreneur journey? Because it's not every day that, people just jump into entrepreneurship. It's definitely not easy.
I think it came from seeing my family struggle. Because during that time, you was either a 9-to-5 worker or you was a drug dealer. That was the only two things that I grew up on, right? So I was able to take the 9-to-5 knowledge and the drug dealer hustle and combine those two together to be a serial entrepreneur. So, I started off doing things like sweeping in a barbershop, washing cars. I would take the Chinese bus up to New York 2 times a week and go buy CDs and DVDs wholesale for $1 and come back home and sell them for $5. I would post up at the train subway. I would be there twice a day, early in the morning when you catching everybody going to work. Then I come back around 4:30, catching everybody coming home from work. I had a little, remember they had the little mobile DVD players where you can watch the movie. So I would have that sitting there. That way you could actually see
the quality.
Make sure the quality of it before I leave. I had a little boom box with all of, I had like a how your grandparents had the picture book, the laminated joint.
Yeah.
So I would have all the mixed CDs I had. I would have the covers in the book and in the plastic, and you can flip through it. That way you can see the track list. And I would have a little boom box so you can play a couple joints. But yeah.
That's fire. How old were you when you were doing that?
I started doing that, man, when I was like 17.
Sheesh, hustle.
Yeah.
Hustle. And so what made you want to hustle that hard? Like, what did you end up doing with the brunt of that bread?
I took it and was buying records. Cause back then, before we got the technology we got now with like DJ controllers and stuff like that, I started off on records. So, I was going to the record store. I was always trying to make sure I had the new music.
And so you know how to like scratch and all of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. New music and fresh sneakers and some t-shirts.
And that was the vibe.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And so at what point during that did it get serious for you where even going in to play hooky, where you're like, okay, I got to create some type of structure around this. This is becoming like big.
Um, as a DJ, to be honest with you, I don't know. I think once I started doing my own events, that's when I really learned structure. Because when you was just getting booked to DJ the party, all I was responsible for is just showing up and just DJing. But now when you're doing your own events, now you doing the planning, you having to make the phone calls to talk to people about getting this venue, learning about contracts, learning about splits, learning about budgeting, you know what I mean, your ROI, things like that. That's when I really started creating systems, or at least back then I thought I was, right? But even still now, like I know so much more now, even when it comes to play hooky, but there's still always a lot of learning curves. You know, people see this event and they love it, and I have not heard nothing negative about it, about how it's ran, the setup, but there's still things that I see that I'd be like, no, I ain't like that. We gotta tweak that. We gotta change that. So it's always a learning curve. But I think when I really started to put systems in place is when I started doing my own events.
Got you. And so what would you say is the biggest difference from the first Play Hooky event you did versus the one you set up right now?
I think the execution of them become easier because now so like obviously I believe that this could work, right? Because then I never would have jumped out there and did it. But there's a difference between when you believe it and now you got thousands of people that's standing in front of you that believe it as well. It makes the execution so much easier because now people trust you. They trust your brand, they trust your name, they trust your execution. So now it makes it easier to make decisions when it comes to what am I going to do in this city this time to entertain these people? And it's like, go out and do what you always been doing and just keep throwing a little sprinkle of this, a sprinkle of that to keep them coming back. And every city is a different experience because the venues are different, right? They all, so I have a certain blueprint, right? They're all outdoors. They got to have turf. They got to have stage, sound, screens, that kind of thing, right? Because that's aesthetically pleasing in terms of how I create the layout for Play Hooky. But still, the cities are different, right? You got Miami, you got Fort Lauderdale, you got Dallas, you got New Orleans, you got Atlanta. All of these are different cities that offer something different, even down to the climate, the weather, right? And the people that's coming. So even though overall Play Hooky is what it is, when you come to every city, the experience is different. And it's hard for me to explain it. That's why I tell people, like, even when you look at the videos, they be like, oh man, this look fun. Ain't nothing like being there.
You got to get that energy in person.
You'll see.
Nah, facts. I'm already excited. And so, you know, how many cities have you done so far?
We've done 4 so far.
Okay.
And we have a total of like 14 on the list.
Oh, wow.
And that's steady more cities being added.
Wow. And so how often do you do the event?
So every city will see it 3 times a year. Currently I have like a 12-week straight run where we have a Play Hooky in a different state every single week.
Wow. And
right now we're currently booked up through the end of October.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's like tickets sold and everything already for these events coming out?
Yeah. There's tickets on sale for every city.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's major.
Yeah.
Wow. And so as you see it growing, you know, what comes to mind as far as like expansion? You got to get bigger venues every time? Like, you know, how many people usually show up to like events like this?
We get at least 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, at least 1,000 plus. I try to not get too excited about the crowd and then be like, all right, we need to get a bigger venue, right? Because what you don't want to do, you don't want to scale too quickly. You don't want to go from 1,000 person venue to a 2,000 person venue, and now that 2,000 person venue doesn't look as full as
it makes it seem empty,
right? So like, I don't want to do it just based off like the financial part of it, right? I want when I think about it, I think about people still having the space and the freedom to kind of move around freely. They still comfortable. So when it comes to like expanding, getting bigger spaces, that part of it is more important to me than just trying to put more people in the building, right? And then the other thing is too, like that also constantly creates exclusiveness, right? If I keep getting spaces that only hold this amount of people, then that means when I come back, get your tickets early.
Yeah,
stop waiting to the last minute.
Yep.
So and you know, I wanna make it where, you know, it's not one of those things where it's like, man, they be back next month, or I can wait till the week of to get my ticket. Like, I want this to be so talked about and so big to where it's like, as soon as I drop the date, it can be 6 months from now, you're going to buy your ticket because you want to make sure that you don't miss out.
That's good promo.
Yeah.
And so how do you take care of like the marketing? What's your biggest factor in reaching the people?
A lot. So, I mean, we run social media ads and stuff like that. But honestly, bro, a lot of the attention that we're getting is coming organically from the people that's coming to the event.
Just post it.
It's like, it's free promo in a sense, right? They enjoying themselves so much that they want to share it with the world, right? So that's the genuineness of it. Like, I don't have to go out and find the audience. The audience is there, and then they're introducing me to a bigger audience because they are expressing their genuine experience and their genuine joy of what it was like to come to play hooky. So I don't have to sell it.
Yeah.
It's selling itself. And the people that's enjoying themselves is selling the experience that they had.
Because it's something they already want to do.
Right. What better marketing scheme there is in the world than that?
No, that's fire. And so when you're labeling these events, when you have these events, I'm sure there has to be a level of carefulness to it, because people are coming to your event to do like physical activities. Do you got to deal with a lot of like crazy insurance stuff on the back end? Like,
no. So, but you know, majority of the venues already carry, you know, insurance policy. Certain venues, I do have to get.
Don't you get your general liability?
Yeah, you have to get a general liability. And then now with some of the activities we getting into, we're gonna get into having to sign the waiver forms. We have had some people, you know, hurt themselves because they thought they were still Superman.
Yeah.
You know, they forgot they 40, they ain't 25 no more. Funny story, man. And Dallas in March, we was playing adult musical chairs. And man, this lady, you know, they was walking around, we had the music playing, and when the music went and stopped, man, the lady went and you know how you run in track? What's the little things you jump over?
Oh, the hurdle?
Bruh, she hit a hurdle over the chairs. I lied to you not. You'll see it. I got clips. She hit a hurdle over the chair and ended up, I think she like sprained her ankle or something like that. But she, you know.
And so she called out of work, and then be like, yeah, I got a sprain.
Right, and now she got called out of work some more.
Dang. Oh, man.
She was playing too much hooky.
I bet it gets competitive.
Yeah, she thought she was a track star. Damn. She learned the hard way.
Wow. And so now, you know, mixing the dynamic of like alcohol and competitiveness can get kind of. Have you ever had to deal with situations where people get a little too competitive, and then it's like,
no, man, it's been so, man, it's been fortunate where it's like so much love and joy, and you know, even with alcohol being involved, I think people are just like, I think that's just like allowing them to like let loose a little bit more. But you know, it's never in an aggressive place. It's never in an unhappy place. Like, and again, that's why I'm changing the narrative with what we call nightlife or party life. Because again, when you go to the nightclubs, day parties, night parties, alcohol is triggering anger, right? In my events, alcohol is just alcohol.
It's triggering a release almost.
It's a release.
Yeah.
I'm seeing people happier than ever. I'm seeing couples come in, and I feel like them coming to the event is helping them re-spark something in their relationship, right? There's a lot of people in relationships that's forgetting that they are a team. They're forgetting how to work together. Sometimes you got to look at your spouse and say, I am not your enemy. And I think my event is helping them with that. Like this is more than a party. This is impacting communities, is impacting the world. And hopefully I hope that this starts to impact corporate companies, CEOs to implement programs back into their companies that pour into their employees.
I was just about to say that. Do you see yourself branching this off into like a smaller things, or where multiple of them are happening at the same time?
So I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I think if I can get the right infrastructure and systems to where, you know, I got one going on in Atlanta and one going on in Charlotte at the same time. Yeah. I also hope to be able to bring corporate companies together where let's just say the CEO purchases 300 tickets for Play Hookie for all his employees and give them a paid day off, a paid PTO, like that type of program. And then we have certain activities where it's McDonald's versus Burger King, Walmart versus Target, that type of thing.
No, that's fire. And I was thinking about even the aspect of like they doing it as a company together.
Yeah, they can do it as a company. Yeah, they can even do it as a company. You know, some of these companies got hundreds of employees, thousands. So, you know, let's just say a energy company, right? They got it all over the world. If we had one primary location, right? Let's just say as a football field, right? And each city purchases a certain amount of tickets for their employees, and they all come for a weekend, right? I could turn it into a weekend thing.
Wow.
There's a lot of things that.
Yeah, I see.
I can't tell you everything.
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing
I can tell you some stuff off camera, but so I got plans.
Have you ever had other people try to like emulate what you're doing right now?
Oh yeah, man. There's some people right now trying to emulate what I'm doing. And is it disturbing? I'm human. So I'll be lying to you if I just seen something the other day. Somebody is now deciding that they want to do interviews. So like I have an actual custom Play Hookie interview mic where we go around and get testimonials. And then the other day I seen someone else, I won't say their name, trying to do the same thing. And you know, it makes me mad, but at the same time I say, you know what? Clearly I am a big influencer. But what I'm realizing too, man, is that it's not about what you do, it's how you do it. And sometimes it ain't even that. It's the person behind it. Right? So I understand and know who I am and the impact I have on human beings. So you can go out and go do whatever it is you want to do and copy me.
Yeah.
What you always going to be missing is me. I'm the secret ingredient. Not what I'm doing. It's me.
Got it.
And so that's what I've grown to understand about myself, because I used to have talks with, you know, my mentors and say, hey man, such and such doing, you know, what should I do? Because sometimes I'll be ready to jump off the roof and, you know, and clap back. But it's like, look, man, listen, you can't get mad when people are copycatting you or trying to do what you're doing. That just lets you know that you're doing something right. But always understand that it's not about somebody copycatting you or trying to do what you do. They will never be able to reach the levels that you reach, because that's meant for you. That's your path, right? Somebody just trying to get in it.
Yep.
So it is what it is.
So, you know, now I want to pivot a little bit towards event structure, event companies in general. So you being doing this for a while with at first the DJ stuff, I mean, still now the DJ stuff, but now the event too. What would you say is like the biggest loss you've taken or lesson you've learned from throwing events?
Never not get a contract.
With the venue, with
whoever. That's definitely been the biggest lesson learned. And even still, one thing I've seen too, I mean, contracts are very, very good to have, but some people still don't even respect that.
They don't care.
Some people just don't care, man.
Yeah.
But all I can say is that I'll always make sure that I do whatever it is that I need to do to protect myself and protect my brand and my name. That's the biggest lesson that I've learned.
So now if it comes down to, these new age kind of people trying to start their event, throw their event, what kind of advice would you give them when it comes to scaling? Because having 1,000 people consistently at an event is no small feat.
Well, let's take it a step back further than that. I would say even before you decide to do this, ask yourself why. Why are you doing it? Because if you're doing it for money, it's going to fade out. If you're doing it for money, it's not going to last long. You're doing it for money, there's no cultural impact. There's no real integrity, right? And what you also, the audience that you're going to get, right? You get out what you put out. Meaning, even with the audience, you're going to get the type of audience that have no loyalty. They're going to bounce around to who's ever hot at that time. Whereas though, with what I'm building, it don't matter where I go, what city I'm in, my audience is going to constantly follow me. And as they follow me, there's going to be others on this side of the street and that side of the street that's going to look, and they're going to start falling in line. Whereas though, when you're not doing something from a place of love and integrity and having a real meaning behind it, all you're going to have is people doing this. We call them flip-floppers.
Facts.
They gonna keep coming and going. So that is the biggest advice I would give someone before they decide to get into this business is ask yourself why you're doing it. Because, there's a lot of people that's just doing it because they popular, or, because they got a lot of followers on TikTok or Instagram, or because they see that it's an easy money grab. It's like, bro, you can make 30,000 in one night. Why not? But how long that's going to last?
Facts.
Right? And then what's your exit plan? Or what's your plan to elevate? What you going to do? Because you have to, in this business, you have to have the ability to know what's going to be trending 5 years from now.
You thinking that far ahead?
Yes. Not once you get to the 5th year and then once you see stuff start popping them. And that's what a lot of people been doing. They see something pop and then now everybody's just trying to hurry up and get in while it's going, versus being the first person to trend set. And I think a lot of people are scared to take those type of chances because it's like, I don't want to do what everyone else is not doing. I want to do what everyone else is doing. Whereas though I'm the person that's like, why everybody going right, I'm gonna go left.
So that makes me think a little bit more about like the psychology aspect of it too, because you definitely put a lot of effort into this and you make it a place for other people to, have a release and get that kind of mental break from work, avoid burnout. How do you avoid burnout when you have so many different events going on?
Whoa, that's $1 million question. So I do, well, number one, I wake up between 6:30 every morning. And the first thing I do is I go to the gym. I work out. I go outside, I run about 2 miles, and then I go into the gym and I work out. So that helps me release tension, stress. Obviously, I'm physically working my body, right? I'm keeping it in shape. I'm staying stretched out. I usually go in and then I make me a hot cup of tea. Then I start getting on this, right? I can't remember the lady name, man, but I watch her on TikTok all the time. But I started living by this. She says, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you should not do is grab your phone. Because what you do is you're now inviting people into your personal space, into your peace, right? You laying in bed, you literally are inviting people and spirits into your happy place, into your bedroom. You pick up your phone, you check your email, or you scrolling through Instagram, or you checking your text messages from last night because you fell asleep, and then you see something that's disturbing. It messes your whole mood up.
Yep. That's part why I have an actual physical clock in my house.
Yeah. Other things I do, obviously I love music. I love R&B, old R&B. So I listen to music. I get inspiration from that. Depending on the mood that I'm trying to get in or mood that I'm trying to get out of, I have certain playlists for that. Um, I don't watch. I love TV. Anybody that know me know I love TV, but I have cut TV out a lot. Now I only watch inspirational podcasts. So I watch podcasts when I wake up. I watch one before I go to sleep.
So you gonna put this on the
yeah, absolutely.
on the
Yeah,
rotation.
it's gonna get added to my list.
Fine.
Yeah, for sure. Those are a lot of the things. Well, not a lot, but those are some of the things that I do to I guess I ain't gonna. I guess, lack of a better word, I say avoid burnout, because I still burn out, right? I still feel like for me it's a temporary fix to help you get through your long days.
And now the second part of that, because it's one thing for us to take time for ourselves too, but we also can't neglect our loved ones, the family and the friends. And so how do you navigate those kind of spaces and making time to where you're not necessarily neglecting them, but you're also not neglecting you?
That's a very, very difficult challenge. Simply because, particularly when you are a entrepreneur, right? Your business does not operate if you're not operating it per se, right? Obviously, you want to get to a point where your business is operating without you actually being in it. But a lot of people that love being hands-on, even when their business is able to operate without them being in it, they still want to be in it. So that's something I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to balance that, man, because it's like when I get up and once things are rolling and I'm confident about something and I'm into it, it's like this. And sometimes I tend to forget about my loved ones and forget, hey, I need to spend time with this person and spend time with that person. And even sometimes I need to spend time with myself. And I be having to make myself do that. So Play Hookie is just as important to me benefiting from it as it is the audience. That in a sense, it may sound crazy, but even planning it and putting it together, and even the day of, me sitting back and watching everybody enjoy themselves does so much for me internally.
No, that's powerful. And so the last set of questions that I want to go into is more like the cultural effect. And so what kind of people typically show up to this, and who is it really dedicated to?
So it's dedicated for any working class individual. It does not matter what color you are. Anybody that is suffering from work burnout, relationship burnout, just your daily responsibilities, right? There's so many of us out here that, even myself, I'm one of those people where we wake up every day and we have created this routine life for ourselves, right? Every day I'm gonna get up at this time. I got to flip my laptop open, or, I got to take the kids to school, and I got to cook dinner, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. And we never think to say to ourselves, I have to do something to pour into me. We spend every day pouring into other people or other things, and then those people are not pouring back into us. So we have to find and create ways to pour back into ourselves. And I think that this event is me giving people like a golden ticket to do that. And it makes it easy. It's because it's like when people find out about it, it's like people been dying or looking for a reason to utilize their PTO for something other than
vacation.
Not even vacation. Most of us use our PTO for things that we don't even want to use our PTO for. I'll give you a prime example. You wake up one morning, you get in your car and it don't start. Now you got to call your job and utilize some of your hours because you got to go to the mechanic shop. Or you in the middle of your work day and you get a call from your son and daughter school and say, hey, my child is sick. I need you to come pick him up. Now I got to leave work early, get stuck in traffic. We constantly using our time off for things that aren't necessarily benefiting us.
No, I never even thought about it like that. That's dope. And so with this experience, United States is one thing. Do you think you'll ever take this international?
Yes. Next year.
And where's the first place you would go?
You'll know when I release it.
I knew that was coming. That's going to be interesting to see, because definitely it'll be a language barrier.
Yeah.
But, across the world, I feel like burnout and that need to just not think about things in this kind of way is
but
present.
just what you said language barrier, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously people that live in that country will be attending, but there'll also be people that's from the States that will come. So guess what? Team building exercise 101, learning how to speak that language, right? There's a lot of people that's been wanting to speak other languages, including myself. So now I'm putting you in that space, in that place to be able to do that and have fun while doing it. So that's the other thing too. I'm always gonna, even though things are gonna be educational, informational, informative, learning, there's always fun involved. And again, these are things that we haven't done since we were kids. When we went to school, even though we were learning, right, I had to, at least I know I did, I had the kind of teachers where they made learning fun. I'm doing it as adults.
Wow.
Hey, what up, y'all? If you haven't already, you're slipping in your pimping, slacking in your Mac, and be sure to get your family Bible. I know pound for pound, we one of the only communities that's showing families from A to Z, whether it be the babies, my peer group, or them elders, how to get it all together. Everything from gold, guns, land, and self-love. I got you covered. Be sure to click the link in the bio. However you need to get there, just make sure you get there. 2025 is going to be the year of life or death. A lot of families going to prevail. A lot more are going to fail. Choose which side of the fence you want to be on.
Man, Daryl, this has definitely been informative on just understanding. This is the first time I will say, outside of like a networking event where it's a planned party event, but there's actually like a basis of meaning behind it. And that makes it that much more powerful too. And so, the next event will be this Friday. So this won't be out by this Friday, but what's the upcoming schedule that you have for the next like 2 or 3 events?
So Friday we here in Fort Lauderdale. June 6th, we in LA for BT weekend. June 13th, we in Brooklyn, New York, Father's Day weekend. Juneteenth weekend, we in Chicago for Black Yacht weekend. June 27th, we in Atlanta. 4th of July, we in Dallas. July 11th, we are Nashville. July 18th, we are, where we at? Charlotte. I can't remember the rest after that.
And so with these tickets, how much is like the average ticket price?
Average ticket runs between 25 and 40. It just depends on each city is different and each city offers different things. So that's why that's the different fluctuation in the price. But it's worth more than what you're paying. So
okay, yeah, no, I mean definitely sounds like it. So no, that's dope. We'll try to have this out because I'm from New York. So we gonna,
my as Denzel would say, my new
facts. You know what I'm saying? So New York, I'm from the towns of which y'all. So I'm gonna try to bless y'all for the New York edition of Play Hookie Experience. I'm giving away 4 tickets. We're going to cop them for you. We're going to do 4 tickets. And listen, we want you to take that time. We're going to pop a word up on the screen. You know how Dan do it when you see our episodes. And so that means you got to watch the whole podcast. It's not going to be at the beginning and it's not going to be at the end. It's going to be
somewhere in between.
And you're going to send a code to us and we're going to get you right for that experience. But yeah, I'm interested and I'm definitely excited for Friday to be able to put the live bits on there so that people could, when they watch this episode, they get to see what's going on in the actual moment. And that's and
you're gonna be there. So
yeah. No, that's fire. So, man, if people wanted to buy their tickets for the next events or visit you or find out more about you in the event, where could they do that?
Well, you can find me at www.playhookieexp.com. There we have all of our backlinks to the social media. Social media is the Play Hookie Experience on all social media platforms. And get your tickets, get your tickets, get your tickets, get your tickets. Tell your boss you ain't coming. Prepare the others. It's time to play hooky, baby.
There it is. There you have it. Listen, this is another episode of Attractive Mindset, and it's your host, Moneybag Rich. And at the end of the day, always we say we look good, we live good, life is good. Talk to us, we talk back, and we out.